Have you ever watched a show and thought, damn, this was a good show, and then went on to check its IMDb ratings and been like, what? Why is this rated so low? Do you guys remember Rocket Power, that Nickelodeon show about skating and surfing? Everybody loves that show and you'll hear its praises left and right. And by the way people talk about that show, can you guess its IMDb rating? You guess it's something like an 8 or a 9, right? Because everybody's so nostalgic about the show. It's 6.9. And then you'd say it's no big deal. I mean, it's almost a 7 out of 10, which is not bad at all, right? Now, let's compare this rating with another show, Boruto. Everybody talks about how bad the show is, and if we talk about the anime, it's like 90% filler. A lot of people don't even consider it to be canon to the Naruto universe. It's that bad. Considering that, what do you think Boruto's IMDb rating is? I mean, how? On one hand, we have a classic show which I've never seen anybody complain about. And on the other hand, we have Boruto, which is a literal meme of a show. And you mean to tell me that both are a 6 out of 10? And it's not just these two shows, this happens a lot on IMDb. Like the other day, I was rewatching some of the old episodes of Back at the Barnyard and decided to check its IMDb ratings. And the show was rated a solid 5.8 out of 10, which is a little disappointing for me. I grew up watching this show and I liked it a lot, and people around me were enjoying it as well, but I guess people on the internet didn't. Now, I'm not saying it's like a 10 out of 10 show by any means, but it's like an 8 or a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, it's way better than Boruto. Attack and the Power of Juju is another example, which, it was based on a video game series of the same name, but I actually think the show did a better job of exploring the world and the characters more than the video games did. And yeah, I'm not saying it's a perfect show by any means, but I know it was way better than a 3.5, and I know what you're gonna say, that the animation for these shows wasn't very good and that it was weird at times, and I do agree with you on that one. But do you know another show that had bad animation? Berserk 2016. I think everybody agrees that Berserk's animation was not good and that it was a bad adaptation of the original manga. So you would think that it must be rated lower, right? I mean, it has to be. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Berserk 2016 is rated higher than Back at the Barnyard, Attack and the Power of Juju, and Jimmy Neutron. How does that make any sense? Why is Jimmy Neutron rated so low? Like, I don't understand it. It was such a good show. And some might say that 6.7 is a fair rating for the show, but you also have to keep in mind that by saying that, you're also implying that Jimmy Neutron is on the same level as Boruto and Berserk 2016. And those shows are like a meme in the anime community. And I think the anime community is more forgiving of their shows, because you mean to tell me that Future Diary is a 7.4 out of 10? I mean, that show is kind of like a guilty pleasure. That show is rough. And if you look at the internet, nobody seems to like it. There are memes being made about this show even to this day. And if you ask somebody who's seen the show, they will say something along the lines of, yeah, this show was fucking weird. And not even in a good sense most of the times. And upon listening to that, you would think that it must be a 4 or a 5 out of 10. But nope. It's 7.4. You're telling me that Naruto and Future Diary are 1 point apart? There's a problem with our traditional rating system. People in the anime community will complain about a show, but then give it a relatively high rating. I can't throw too much shade at them, to be honest, because I've done the same for some of these shows, so. But you can say that Future Diary is a wacky show, and a lot of people just turn their brains off when watching it. It's no big deal. But then why is everyone being overly analytical when watching Jimmy Neutron? Look, I'm not saying that Future Diary isn't a good show. I kind of enjoyed it myself. But looking online, when you see people criticizing it left and right, is when you think that people didn't enjoy the show at all. They thought it was too weird, and then you go to IMDb and it's rated way above average. Is insane. And another thing that annoys me is that everyone said that SpongeBob fell off, right? After the first few seasons, it went downhill. The episodes are not that funny anymore, and the show doesn't even feel like the way it did back then. And I do agree with all of that. And then you go to IMDb and see that it's rated 8.2. Now, the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob, in my opinion, you can say are like a 9.5 or even a 10 out of 10. But modern SpongeBob is not an 8 out of 10. But maybe just people give it a high rating based on the first 3 seasons. If you're rating a show that has 16 seasons and is still ongoing, you cannot judge it based on only the first few seasons. If you only watched the first few seasons of a show and couldn't be bothered to watch the rest of it, I think maybe you shouldn't give it an 8 out of 10 you know. The same problem lies with some other shows like Family Guy, where a lot of people enjoyed the first few seasons, but if you get people's opinion on the show now, they would say it's not that good anymore, and that back then it was more fun. But the same people will give it an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Another example, The Simpsons. Everyone cries about how Simpsons also fell off after the first few seasons, and the same people will give it an 8.6. Insane. Look, everybody complains about certain shows online, and in your head, you would think that it must be rated pretty low then. And then when you actually go to check the ratings, it's apparently a masterpiece. And on the other hand is a show that you grew up watching and you saw everybody around you love it. And even online, everybody is being nostalgic about the show, and you're hearing this show's praises left and right. But then you check the ratings and apparently it's trash. Nobody liked it all along. Look, I'm not saying that you can only enjoy a show if it's highly rated or the other way around. You can enjoy a show that is in many people's eyes not as good. And maybe you didn't like a show that everyone thinks is a masterpiece. It's just that when you see so much hate toward one show and love toward the other, and when you compare their ratings and see that they're not that far off from each other, that's what boggles my mind. The confusing thing is that people are complaining about the show, and then the same people will give it a high rating on IMDb. And it's not like a company like IGN is giving these shows a higher rating. These are the same people that are complaining. People would say that Simpsons fell off, guys. It's not as good anymore. Simpsons is really bad now. It's so bad that I'm gonna give it a 8.6. Take that. Remember that 90s show Family Guy? It's not been funny since 1999, but I'm still gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And yeah, this show that I keep being nostalgic over and loved growing up, yeah, it's like a 6. Seeing Rocket Power at 6.9 is kind of intriguing because I've never seen anybody complain about it. All I know is that everybody around me and everybody online just loves the show. This show single-handedly got a lot of people into skating, including me. But something about seeing Rocket Power and Teen Titans Go being just 1 point apart from each other on IMDb does something to you. This show is really good, nostalgic, and this show is trash. Nobody likes it. 90% filler, but both are the same. No differences. But yeah, everything is subjective and I don't care. But seeing the ratings just confuses me, and I just wanted to make a video about it. Let me know what you guys think of these ratings, whether you guys agree or disagree. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.